Wait. Before you spend that Washington quarter, stop and look closer. Because 3 coins, 1991p, 1993d, and 1996d, may look like ordinary pocket change, but hidden details can tell a completely different story. Silver claims, mint errors, rare varieties, and collector value. Today, we're uncovering the real mystery, separating fact from unbelievable coin rumors, and discovering what makes these Washington quarters worth a second look. So stay with me. Look twice before you spend. This is ARY Coins News. And your next coin alert, STARTS now. Coin number 1. Let's get started. Stop before you spend that 1991p Washington quarter. A coin that looks completely ordinary at first glance can sometimes tell a much more interesting story when you examine its date, mint mark, surfaces, edge, and strike. But there is an important twist with this particular coin. Many online claims confuse the 1991p Washington quarter with a silver coin. The 1991p quarter was made as a regular copper-nickel-clad circulation coin, not as a traditional 90% silver Washington quarter. So if someone tells you that every 1991p quarter marked Washington and showing an eagle is automatically a rare silver coin, that is a major warning sign. The real story is much more interesting because collectors are not simply looking at the denomination. They are looking for genuine mint-made errors, unusual varieties, exceptional preservation, and coins that have characteristics separating them from the enormous number of ordinary examples. Let us go back to the beginning, because the history behind this quarter starts decades before 1991. George Washington appeared on the United States quarter in 1932, originally introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of his birth. The design became permanent, and Washington remained on the obverse for generations. On the reverse of the traditional Washington quarter was an eagle, an instantly recognizable American symbol. By 1991, the design had already been part of American pocket change for many years, meaning millions upon millions of Washington quarters had passed through stores, vending machines, banks, cash registers, and the hands of ordinary Americans. That enormous production history is exactly why a normal 1991p quarter is not automatically rare today. Rarity has to come from something specific. Now look closely at the mysterious letter P. The tiny p is the Philadelphia mint mark. In earlier United States coinage, Philadelphia coins often carried no mint mark, but modern circulation coins from Philadelphia use the P. The 1991p Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint in very large quantities. That fact is extremely important when judging value because a large mintage generally means that an ordinary example is plentiful. A collector therefore needs something beyond the date and mint mark to make the coin stand out. A genuine error, dramatic striking problem, unusual die characteristic, or exceptionally preserved example can completely change the conversation, but simply being a 1991p does not make the coin rare. And now we reach one of the biggest misunderstandings surrounding this coin: silver. If your 1991p quarter appears silver-colored, that does not automatically mean it contains silver. The normal 1991 Washington quarter has a copper-nickel outer layer bonded to a copper core. One of the easiest clues is the edge. On an ordinary clad quarter, the edge can reveal a distinct copper-colored band between the lighter outer layers. A traditional silver Washington quarter from the pre-1965 era has a different composition and does not show that same copper core. Therefore, if you are holding a 1991p quarter and someone has described it as a 1991 silver Washington quarter, stop and investigate before accepting that claim. There is another detail that makes this coin especially interesting for beginners. The eagle on the reverse is not proof that the coin is a silver eagle. The American silver eagle is a completely different United States coin series with a different denomination and design history. A Washington quarter displaying an eagle on its reverse should not be called a silver eagle simply because the word eagle appears in the description. The 1991 P Washington quarter is a $quarter denomination, while the American silver eagle is a separate bullion coin series. Mixing those two coins together can make an ordinary quarter sound dramatically rarer than it really is. The words surrounding the design are also part of the historical identity of the coin. Liberty appears above Washington on the obverse, while In God We Trust is positioned alongside the portrait, and the date 1991 appears below. The reverse carries United States of America, EPLUBUSUNUM, and quarter dollar, together with the eagle design. These inscriptions are normal features of the coin rather than secret indicators of rarity. Collectors study them, however, because missing letters, distorted lettering, unusual doubling, or other abnormalities can sometimes provide clues to a genuine mint era or die variety. So what would actually make a 1991 P quarter valuable? The answer is not a magic number printed beside the date. The value depends on exactly what is unusual about the coin. A normal circulated example is generally worth around its face value rather than a life-changing fortune. A sharply preserved, uncirculated coin can bring more attention from collectors, especially if it has strong eye appeal and a high certified grade. A dramatic and authenticated mint era can potentially command substantially more. The important words here are genuine, dramatic, and authenticated. A coin cannot become rare simply because someone on social media gives it a huge price tag. One of the most exciting possibilities collectors investigate is a broad or off-center strike. During the minting process, a blank planchet is positioned between dies and struck under tremendous pressure. If the planchet is not properly centered, the resulting coin can show an obvious area where the design is missing or pushed toward one side. A minor deviation may have little additional value, while a dramatic off-center strike that clearly shows the date and mint mark can be much more interesting. The percentage of the off-center strike, the amount of design missing, the preservation of the coin, and the overall visual impact all matter when collectors evaluate such an era. Another major category is a double strike. This happens when a coin is struck more than once and the second strike occurs in a different position. The result can produce a visibly repeated portion of the design. This should not be confused with ordinary damage caused after the coin left the mint. A real mint-made double strike normally creates a pattern consistent with another strike from the dies, if the suspected doubling looks like scratches, flattened metal. Random movement or damage around only one small area, caution is necessary. A photograph can help identify possibilities, but professional examination is the safest way to authenticate a valuable era. Then there is the famous subject of doubled dies, a term that is frequently misunderstood online. Genuine hub doubling occurs during die production and can create a repeated appearance in parts of the design. This is different from machine doubling, which can make letters or numbers appear flattened or shifted, but usually does not have the same characteristics as a true doubled die. Collectors therefore examine specific areas under magnification rather than simply seeing a second-looking edge on a letter and immediately declaring the coin a rare doubled die. The distinction can mean the difference between an ordinary coin and a legitimate collectible variety. The date deserves special attention because people often focus on the numbers first. Look at the 1, 9, 9, and 1 under magnification, but do not assume every strange-looking digit is an error. Circulation wear can distort the appearance of the date, and damage can create lines that resemble doubling. A genuine mint-made anomaly should make physical and manufacturing sense. If the metal appears pushed, duplicated, or formed in a way consistent with the striking process, that is more interesting than a simple scratch. The key is to investigate rather than decide the answer before examining the evidence. The P mint mark is another area worth inspecting, but again, caution is essential. The Philadelphia Mint struck these quarters with the P mint mark as part of the normal production process. A strangely shaped P is not automatically a rare mint mark variety. Polishing, where contact marks, corrosion, and damage can change the appearance of a small mint mark. If you believe the P is dramatically doubled, misplaced, or otherwise unusual, compare it carefully with normal examples and consider professional attribution before believing an extraordinary valuation. Now turn the coin over and study the eagle. The reverse design contains many small details that can become useful when assessing strike quality. Examine the feathers, lettering, rim, and surrounding fields. A weakly struck coin may show less detail in certain areas, while postmint wear can remove details through years of circulation. A genuine striking anomaly may affect the design in a different way. Collectors also watch for missing portions of the rim, unusual metal flow, or dramatic distortions. But remember, ordinary contact marks, scratches, dents, and flattened areas caused by circulation are not automatically mint errors. The edge may be the most revealing part of the entire investigation. Hold the quarter sideways under good lighting and rotate it slowly. The normal clad construction can show a copper-colored center line. If you see something dramatically different, do not immediately assume that you have discovered a rare silver error. An unusual edge can result from damage, environmental effects, plating, chemical alteration, or other postmint changes. Genuine composition errors do exist in coinage, but proving one requires more than appearance. When substantial value is suspected, professional testing and authentication become far more important than an internet description. There is also a fascinating category known as a wrong planchet or wrong planchet error. This occurs when a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination or composition. Such mistakes can create major differences in weight, diameter, thickness, color, and edge appearance. If a supposed 1991 P quarter has an unusual weight or physical configuration, that is worth investigating. However, weight alone is not enough to prove an error. Scales can be inaccurate, coins can be worn, and damaged or altered pieces can lose or gain material. The strongest cases combine several independent clues that point toward an actual minting mistake. Another possibility collectors investigate is a clipped planchet. This happens when the metal strip used to produce coin blanks is improperly punched or positioned, leaving a curved missing section on the resulting planchet. A genuine clip has characteristic metal flow clues that can help distinguish it from a coin that was damaged after leaving the mint. A quarter with a perfectly smooth-looking curved section might attract attention, but the shape alone is not sufficient. Professional error specialists know what physical evidence to look for, and authentication becomes particularly important when a seller or online post claims a spectacular value. Coins can also suffer from die breaks and retain die cut errors. As dies strike thousands of coins, extreme stress can sometimes cause parts of the die to crack or break. The resulting coin may display raised lines, blobs, or larger areas of unusual metal corresponding to the damaged die. These can be genuine mint-made features and may be collectible. But there is an important distinction. A raised feature formed during striking is fundamentally different from a scratch cut into the surface after production. Understanding whether a feature is raised or in cues is one of the first clues a collector can use. The condition of the coin is another major part of the value story. Two quarters from exactly the same year and mint can have dramatically different collector appeal because one may have spent decades circulating while the other remained carefully preserved. Look for original surfaces, sharp details, strong luster, and minimal contact marks. Avoid cleaning the coin in an attempt to make it look newer. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and may reduce collector appeal. A natural-looking coin is generally far more useful for evaluation than one that has been polished, scratched, dipped improperly, or chemically treated. Certification can become especially important when the claimed value becomes significant. A reputable grading and authentication service can evaluate the coin, assign a grade, and when appropriate, identify an error or variety. Certification does not magically make an ordinary quarter rare, but it can provide an independent assessment when a coin genuinely appears unusual. If someone claims that a common 1991 P quarter is worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions, The first question should not be, where can I sell it? The first question should be, what specific characteristic supposedly creates that value, and can it be independently verified? This is where the biggest online trap appears. Viral coin videos often use phrases such as check your change, rare coin worth millions, or you could be rich tonight. Those headlines can be entertaining, but they can also blur the line between possibility and probability. A rare error can absolutely be worth more than face value, but that does not mean an entire date is rare. Millions of ordinary coins can exist, while only a tiny number contain a particular legitimate error. The valuable part is the verified anomaly, not the dramatic headline. There is also no credible reason to say that an ordinary 1991p quarter could make its owner a billionaire. That kind of claim is sensational rather than a realistic assessment of the United States coin market. Even extremely famous and historically important American coins have values determined by rarity, condition, provenance, auction demand, and buyer interest. A normal circulation quarter should never be presented as a guaranteed fortune. Responsible collecting is actually more exciting because it teaches you how to separate a genuine discovery from a viral exaggeration. If you have one of these quarters in your collection, the best approach is simple. Do not clean it, do not scratch it, do not bend it, and do not try to manufacture an error. Instead, photograph the obverse and reverse clearly, photograph the edge, record its weight using an accurate scale, and take close-up images of anything that looks unusual. Pay particular attention to the date, P mint mark, lettering, rim, eagle, edge, and any apparent doubling or striking abnormality. These details can help determine whether you are looking at ordinary wear, post-mint damage, a variety, or something that deserves professional examination. So before you throw that 1991p quarter into a vending machine, take one final look. Is the edge showing normal clad construction? Is the P mint mark normal? Does the date show genuine doubling or merely damage? Is the eagle correctly formed? Is there an off-center strike, clipped planchet, die break, wrong planchet possibility, or another manufacturing anomaly? Is the surface original and well preserved? These are the questions that separate serious coin hunting from internet treasure hunt rumors. And if you find something genuinely unusual, the next step is authentication, not a wild price prediction. Your 1991p Washington quarter may not be the mythical silver quarter worth millions that viral stories sometimes promise, but it can still be worth investigating if it contains a legitimate mint error or exceptional characteristic. The real treasure in coin collecting is learning to recognize what the mint actually produced, what happened to a coin after it entered circulation, and which unusual features collectors genuinely value. Remember this rule: rarity must be demonstrated, errors must be verified, and value must be supported by the actual coin and the market, not just by a sensational headline. And that is your complete 1991p Washington quarter collector alert. If you have a 1991p in your hands right now, do not judge it by the date alone. Check the composition, inspect the edge, study the lettering, examine the date and mint mark, look carefully at the eagle, and investigate every unusual feature before making a decision. A normal coin may remain a normal coin, while a genuine mint error can tell an entirely different story. The difference is hidden in the details, and that is exactly why experienced collectors look twice. If you enjoy discovering the truth behind rare American coins, valuable errors, unusual varieties, historic mint issues, and the coins hiding in everyday change, stay tuned for more collector alerts. Do not let a dramatic headline decide what your coin is worth. Learn the evidence, verify the error, protect the coin, and then let the market speak. This is ARYCOINS News, bringing you fresh coin discoveries, collector education, and new alerts for the next potentially fascinating piece of American numismatic history. Subscribe to ARYCOINS News, turn on the notification bell, and keep watching your change, because sometimes the smallest details create the biggest stories. Coin number 2, the 1993D Washington quarter in your photographs, deserves a careful look. But before the treasure hunt begins, there is one fact that can completely change the story. What you are showing is a 1993D Washington quarter with the D mint mark identifying the Denver Mint. It is not a normal 1993 silver quarter, and the eagle on the reverse does not make it a silver eagle. This distinction is crucial because a silver-colored appearance is not proof of silver content. The standard 1993 D circulation quarter was made from copper-nickel-clad material with a copper core, and it weighs about 5.67 grams when properly measured. So if a headline promises that every 1993 D quarter is a hidden silver fortune, be careful. The genuinely fascinating question is whether a particular example contains an authentic mint era, unusual variety, exceptional preservation, or another characteristic that separates it from ordinary examples. Imagine reaching into an ordinary pocket and pulling out a quarter that has been sitting unnoticed for decades. At first glance, there is nothing dramatic about it. George Washington faces left, Liberty stretches across the top, In God We Trust sits beside the portrait, and the date reads 1993. But then your eyes move toward that tiny letter D. That single letter tells you that this coin came from Denver, one of the United States mint facilities responsible for producing enormous quantities of circulating American coinage. Your particular photograph shows the D beneath Washington's neck, consistent with the Denver issue, and this is where serious collecting begins. The date alone does not create rarity. The mint mark alone does not create rarity. The real story is hidden in the physical evidence left behind by the manufacturing process. The Washington quarter itself has a remarkable history. The design first appeared in 1932 to commemorate the bicentennial of George Washington's birth and eventually became a permanent part of American circulating coinage. Generations of Americans have carried Washington quarters through grocery stores, banks, parking meters, vending machines, restaurants, and countless other places. By 1993, the quarter had already become one of the most familiar pieces of American money. The reverse displayed the traditional eagle, while the obverse honored Washington. That means your 1993 D quarter is not an obscure fantasy coin invented for collectors. It is a genuine piece of everyday United States monetary history. Its importance comes from its place in the long-running Washington Quarter series, while any premium value must come from the individual coin's condition or unusual characteristics. Now comes the first major mystery surrounding this coin. Why does it look silver? The answer is simple but extremely important. A normal-clad Washington quarter has a bright outer appearance because its outer layers contain a copper-nickel alloy. Beneath those layers is a copper core. From the front and back, that composition can look distinctly silvery, especially under bright photography lights. The edge tells another part of the story. On an ordinary clad quarter, the copper core can often be seen as a darker or reddish line between the outer layers. Traditional pre-1965 silver Washington quarters were made from a different composition. Therefore, simply looking at the face of a 1993 D quarter cannot establish that it contains silver. If someone calls the coin a 1993 D silver eagle quarter, that terminology should immediately be treated with caution. And that eagle deserves its own investigation because it is one of the easiest places for online coin descriptions to become exaggerated. The bird on the reverse is part of the Washington quarter design. It does not mean the coin is an American silver eagle. The American silver eagle is a separate United States coin series with a completely different denomination and purpose. A Washington quarter carrying an eagle is still a Washington quarter. This matters enormously when discussing value because the bullion value, collector market, denomination, and production history of an American silver eagle cannot simply be transferred to a 1993 D Washington quarter. A dramatic title might combine the words silver, eagle, Washington, and rare, but those words do not automatically transform one coin into another. Look closely at the obverse in your photograph, and you can see the major identifying features. Washington's portrait occupies the center, with Liberty above him and In God We Trust to the left. The date 1993 sits along the lower portion of the coin, while the D mint mark appears near the lower right side of Washington's neck. The surfaces show noticeable circulation wear, and the details are not comparable to a pristine, untouched mint state specimen. That matters because condition can dramatically affect collector interest. A common date in heavily circulated condition may remain close to face value, while an exceptionally preserved example can can attract a different level of attention. This is why two coins with exactly the same date and mint mark can have very different market outcomes. There is another reason not to underestimate condition. Collectors do not simply ask whether a coin is old. They ask how well it survived. 1993 coin is now more than 3 decades old, but age by itself does not make it rare. Millions of ordinary quarters from the early 1990s survived because they were produced for circulation in huge quantities. What matters is the combination of scarcity and desirability. A coin with strong original luster, sharp details, minimal contact marks, and excellent preservation can be considerably more interesting than a worn example. The coin shown in your photograph appears circulated, so its potential value should not be exaggerated based solely on age. The exciting possibility would have to come from a genuine era, variety, or unusual physical characteristic. Now let's talk about the word every treasure hunter wants to hear: era. A genuine mint era happens during the manufacturing process, before the coin reaches the public. That is fundamentally different from damage caused afterward. A quarter dropped on a hard surface, squeezed by machinery, scratched with another object, exposed to chemicals, or deliberately altered, can look unusual without being a valuable mint era. This distinction is one of the most important lessons in modern coin collecting. If the unusual feature happened after the coin left the Denver Mint, it generally does not carry the same collector significance as a documented mint-made era. So when examining this 1993 D quarter, the first question should always be, does the strange feature make sense as something that could have happened during striking? One of the most searched for possibilities is doubling. A genuine doubled die can occur during the preparation of a die and may create a distinctive separation or duplication in parts of the design. But not every fuzzy letter or doubled-looking number qualifies. Mechanical or strike-related doubling can create flattened, shelf-like appearances that are often mistaken for a valuable doubled die. Scratches and reflections can also produce convincing illusions in photographs. On your coin, the available image is not detailed enough to authenticate a doubled die. I would therefore never label this particular 1993 D quarter a valuable double die coin solely from the photograph. A proper close-up, preferably without digital sharpening or AI enhancement, would be necessary before making a serious attribution. The date is especially tempting because collectors naturally stare at those 4 digits first. The 1, 9, 9, and 3 should be inspected under magnification, but every irregular line should not be declared an error. Circulation wear can make digits appear distorted, while scratches can create extra-looking strokes. Genuine die varieties have specific characteristics that remain consistent with the way a die was manufactured. If an alleged doubled feature appears only as a random scratch or raised-looking reflection, that is not enough. The strongest discoveries are repeatable and explainable. In other words, a valuable error is not simply something that looks weird. It is something whose physical characteristics tell a convincing manufacturing story. The D mint mark also deserves careful attention. On the coin in your photograph, the Denver mint mark is visible beneath Washington's neck. A slightly unusual-looking D is not automatically a rare mint mark variety. Where lighting, camera focus, surface marks, and die polishing can all affect its appearance. Collectors sometimes discover legitimate die varieties involving mint marks or other design elements, but those claims require comparison and attribution. If the D appears to have an unusual shape, doubling, or placement, a sharp macro photograph would be much more useful than the current image. Until that evidence exists, the safest description is simply a 1993 D Washington quarter rather than a confirmed mint era coin. Turn the coin over, and the reverse gives us another important clue. The eagle design appears to be the normal Washington quarter reverse, with United States of America around the top, EPLUIBUSUNUM above the eagle, and quarter dollar at the bottom. The central eagle holds the traditional bundle of arrows and olive branches. In your photograph, there is a noticeable horizontal-looking feature crossing the central reverse area. That feature is interesting enough to investigate, but the photograph does not provide sufficient evidence to identify it as a die break, doubled strike, or other major mint error. Lighting, surface contact, scratches, and image processing can make a feature look much more dramatic than it actually is. A close-up from several angles would be essential before assigning it a specific error category. A true die break can be fascinating because it tells the story of a working coin die under enormous mechanical stress. If part of a die cracks or breaks, subsequent coins can receive raised metal corresponding to the damaged area of the die. Larger breaks can produce prominent blobs or raised structures that collectors sometimes call cuds. These are legitimate mint-made phenomena. But there is an important physical test. A die-created feature generally appears raised on the coin because the damaged area of the die leaves additional metal displaced into the design. A groove cut into the coin after production is fundamentally different. That is why photographs from multiple lighting directions can help reveal whether a suspected feature is raised, recessed, or simply a surface mark. Another possibility is an off-center strike. During normal production, the blank planchet must be correctly positioned between the dies. If it shifts, the design can be struck away from the center, sometimes leaving a clearly blank crescent or missing portion of the design. Dramatic off-center errors can be collectible, particularly when important identifying information such as the date and mint mark remains visible. However, your photograph does not show an obvious dramatic off-center strike. The coin appears generally centered within its rim. That means there is no reason from these images to describe it as an off-center error. If a video claims otherwise, viewers should demand evidence rather than accepting the claim simply because the title says rare. A wrong planchet error would be another completely different level of investigation. This occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination or composition. Such a coin can have unusual weight, thickness, diameter, or edge characteristics. If your 1993 D quarter weighs substantially differently from the expected approximately 5.67 grams, that could justify further investigation. But even weight cannot prove an error by itself. An inaccurate scale, wear, corrosion, alteration, or other factors can affect measurements. A suspected wrong planchet coin should be professionally evaluated because composition and dimensions provide much stronger evidence when examined together. Never damage a coin to test what metal is inside it. Clip planchets are another genuine mint error category that sometimes appears in collections. A clip occurs when the blanking process creates an incomplete piece of metal, leaving a characteristic curved missing section. Experienced error collectors look for specific metal flow clues around the affected area. A coin with a smooth-looking curved missing portion can therefore be interesting, but a random cut or later damage is not the same thing. Your photographed 1993 D quarter does not show an obvious major clip planchet feature. That is another reason to keep the script exciting without telling viewers that every unusual-looking quarter is a jackpot. There is also the question of value, and this is where responsible coin content needs to separate reality from viral fantasy. A normal circulated 1993 D Washington quarter is generally not $1 million coin. It is a common modern circulation issue, and ordinary examples typically have little premium above their face value. Better preserved uncirculated examples can be worth more, while exceptionally high-grade certified coins can attract stronger collector interest. Genuine errors can command premiums that vary enormously depending on the type and severity of the error. There is no single universal price for a 1993 D error. The exact feature, condition, authentication, rarity, and collector demand determine the market value. So what about those claims that a 1993 D quarter could make someone a millionaire or billionaire? That is where the story needs a reality check. A normal quarter cannot reasonably be presented as a guaranteed pathway to enormous wealth. Even when an extraordinary coin sells for a large amount, that does not mean every coin sharing its date is worth the same. Auction records represent specific coins with specific characteristics. A headline about a spectacular sale can easily be transformed online into the misleading claim that all 1993 D quarters are worth millions. They are not. Real collector's skill is knowing exactly what separates the exceptional specimen from the ordinary one. Your particular coin also should not be cleaned in an attempt to increase its value. This is one of the most important warnings for anyone who discovers an old-looking quarter. Scrubbing, polishing, abrasive rubbing, chemical treatments, or other attempts to make the surface shine can permanently alter the original surface. Collectors and grading professionals can often recognize such treatment. If you suspect that the coin has a genuine error, preserving its existing condition is much safer than trying to make it look newer. A coin's natural surface is evidence. Once that surface has been altered, some of the original information can be lost. If you want to investigate this 1993 D quarter seriously, the best evidence would come from a clear set of photographs and measurements. The obverse should be photographed straight on, with the entire coin visible. The reverse should receive the same treatment. Then take close-ups of the date, mint mark, rim, and the unusual area crossing the reverse. Finally, photograph the edge from several positions. An accurate weight measurement would add another important piece of evidence. These simple steps can transform a dramatic-looking social media coin into something that can actually be evaluated. The goal is not to prove that the coin is rare. The goal is to discover what the evidence says. There is also a fascinating psychological side to coin collecting. When people hear 1993 D, they may immediately search for an enormous price because they want the coin to be extraordinary. But experienced collectors work in the opposite direction. They begin with the ordinary explanation and then look for evidence that proves something unusual. That approach protects collectors from confusing damage with errors and common coins with rare varieties. It also makes genuine discoveries much more exciting. When an unusual coin survives every test and turns out to be authentic, the discovery has real substance behind it rather than just a sensational headline. The most important lesson from this 1993 D Washington quarter is that rarity is a property of the individual coin, not merely the date printed on it. Millions of quarters can share the same year and mint mark, while a tiny fraction may have unusual characteristics. A collector must therefore examine the manufacturing details, condition, composition, and physical evidence before assigning a premium value. The coin shown here clearly fits the identity of a 1993 D Washington quarter, but the photographs do not establish a spectacular mint error. The unusual reverse feature deserves closer examination, yet responsible attribution requires more evidence. That is the difference between an exciting possibility and a verified discovery. The next time you see a 1993 D Washington quarter, don't just look at Washington's face and walk away. Turn it over, study the eagle, examine the lettering, inspect the date, find the D, look at the rim, study the edge, check the weight. Most importantly, learn to recognize the difference between something created by the United States Mint and something that happened after the coin entered circulation. That knowledge is what turns a casual person finding change into a serious collector searching for genuine varieties and errors. Maybe the coin will be ordinary, maybe it will contain something worth investigating. Either way, the evidence tells the story, and this is where today's hunt ends, but the search certainly does not. The 1993 D Washington quarter may not be the automatic million-dollar treasure that viral headlines sometimes promise, yet one carefully examined coin can still teach you an extraordinary amount about American minting, clad construction, circulation, die varieties, mint errors, and the real-world coin market. Remember, collectors do not chase impossible promises, they chase evidence. They preserve unusual coins, document their characteristics, compare them carefully, and authenticate important discoveries before assigning dramatic values. Keep your eyes sharp, keep your coins safe, and never let a sensational price claim replace proper examination. Coin number 3. Imagine finding a quarter in your change that looks completely ordinary, but one tiny detail could determine whether it is worth 25 cents or deserves a much closer collector investigation. The date is 1996. The mint mark is D. George Washington is staring back at you, and on the reverse, an American eagle spreads its wings beneath the words United States of America. At first glance, this looks like another everyday Washington quarter. But today we are going beneath the surface of the 1996 D Washington quarter to uncover its real history, composition, collector value, condition factors, and the mint errors that could make a particular example much more interesting. And there is one warning you need to hear immediately. This is not automatically a silver coin, and it is certainly not automatically a million-dollar treasure. The real mystery is whether your individual coin contains something genuinely unusual. The story begins with the Washington quarter itself, a denomination that has been part of American life for generations. George Washington first appeared on the quarter in 1932, when the United States honored the 200th anniversary of his birth. What began as a commemorative issue became a permanent part of American coinage, and Washington continued to appear on quarters long after the original anniversary had passed. By 1996, the design was already deeply familiar to Americans. People used these coins without thinking twice, dropping them into parking meters, vending machines, cash registers, and pockets. That ordinary history is actually what makes coin collecting fascinating. A coin does not need to have belonged to a famous person or been hidden for centuries to have a story. Sometimes the story is simply how an ordinary piece of American money survived decades of circulation. Now look at the small letter that can easily escape your attention. D. That tiny mint mark identifies the Denver Mint as the production facility for this issue. Philadelphia and Denver were major sources of circulating United States coinage, and the mint mark allows collectors to distinguish issues made at different facilities. Your 1996 D. Washington quarter, therefore, has a specific production identity. But don't make the common mistake of believing that the letter D automatically means rarity. A mint mark is an identification feature, not a jackpot button. Millions of ordinary quarters can carry the same mint mark. For a 1996 D quarter to become substantially more desirable, collectors need to find something beyond the basic date and mint mark, such as exceptional preservation, a recognized variety, or a genuine mint-made error. Here comes the biggest myth surrounding this coin: silver. Hold a normal 1996 D Washington quarter in your hand, and it can look silver-colored on both faces. That appearance is completely normal. The standard circulation quarter from this period was produced using a copper-nickel-clad construction rather than the traditional silver composition used on older Washington quarters. The outer layers provide the familiar bright appearance, while the center contains copper. This means a shiny-looking 1996 D quarter should not automatically be described as a silver coin. If someone tells you that the color alone proves that your 1996 D quarter contains silver, that claim needs to be challenged. Coin composition has to be established from actual physical characteristics, not from the color of a photograph. The edge can become your first serious detective tool. Turn the quarter sideways and inspect the rim carefully. On a normal-clad Washington quarter, you may see a copper-colored line running between the lighter outer layers. That visible core is one of the clues that you're looking at clad construction. A genuine composition error could potentially look different, but unusual color alone does not prove such an error. Environmental exposure, chemical reactions, polishing, plating, staining, and lighting can all change how a coin appears. If you suspect something extraordinary about the composition, do not cut, scratch, drill, heat, or otherwise damage the coin. A valuable discovery should be preserved, not sacrificed for a homemade experiment. There is another terminology trap hiding in the phrase silver eagle quarter. The eagle on the reverse of the Washington quarter does not make the coin an American silver eagle. The American silver eagle is a separate United States coin series with a different denomination, design history, and purpose. Your 1996 D Washington quarter is a $quarter coin. The eagle is simply part of its reverse design. This distinction may sound small, but it is extremely important when discussing value. A headline combining 1996 D, silver, and eagle can make an ordinary quarter sound like an entirely different coin. Serious collectors identify the exact coin first and discuss its value second. Now let's talk about condition, because this is where an ordinary coin can separate itself from another ordinary coin. A quarter that spent years circulating through thousands of transactions will naturally develop contact marks, scratches, flattened high points, and loss of original detail. Another example from the same production year might have spent much of its life protected from circulation and could preserve much sharper details and stronger original surfaces. Those two coins share the same date and mint mark, but collectors can view them very differently. A circulated 1996 D quarter is generally not a high-value rarity simply because it is over 30 years old. Age matters in numismatics, but scarcity and condition usually matter far more. The phrase mint error is where the investigation becomes much more exciting. A true mint error is created during the manufacturing process. It is not simply damage that happened after the coin entered someone's pocket. That distinction is critical. A quarter crushed by a machine, scratched on concrete, scraped against another object, chemically altered, or deliberately modified, can look spectacular while having little or no additional collector value. A genuine mint error, on the other hand, can show physical evidence consistent with something going wrong during planchet preparation, striking, feeding, or another stage of production. Before calling any 1996 D-quarter rare, the first question should always be, does the unusual feature have a credible minting explanation? One possibility collectors examine is a doubled die. Genuine die doubling originates during the creation of the die and can produce distinctive duplicated portions of letters, numbers, or design elements. But this is one of the areas where beginners are most frequently fooled. A blurry edge on a letter is not automatically a doubled die. Mechanical doubling can create a flat, shelf-like appearance, while scratches and reflections can create the illusion of a second image. Genuine varieties have recognizable characteristics that can be studied and compared. If your 1996 D-quarter appears to show doubling around Liberty, In God We Trust, the date, or another design element, a sharp macro photograph is needed before anyone should call it a valuable doubled die. The date 1996 deserves particularly careful attention because the numbers are often the first place people search for abnormalities. Examine the 1, the 2 nines, and the 6 under good lighting and magnification. Look for genuine separation or unusual structure rather than simply a shadow or scratch. A worn coin can make the edges of digits look uneven, and a contact mark can imitate an extra line. The same warning applies to the D mint mark. A distorted-looking D may be caused by wear, damage, die deterioration, lighting, or image compression. A truly unusual mint mark characteristic would require careful attribution. In other words, magnification helps you discover evidence. It does not automatically turn every strange-looking mark into an error. The reverse deserves just as much attention. The eagle, arrows, olive branches, lettering, and rim provide numerous surfaces where striking problems can sometimes become visible. A weak strike may produce less detail in certain areas, but weakness is not necessarily an error. A die crack can create a raised line, while a die break can create a larger raised area. A struck-through error can occur when foreign material interferes between the die and planchet, leaving an unusual depression or missing detail. These categories are fascinating because they are directly connected to the manufacturing process, but the physical appearance has to match the proposed error. Calling every unusual mark a rare die error would turn good collecting information into misinformation. A dramatic off-center strike is another possibility worth knowing about. During normal mint production, a blank planchet must be correctly positioned between the dies. If something goes wrong and the planchet is struck away from the intended center, the finished coin can show a noticeably displaced design. The most interesting examples can have a substantial portion of the design missing, while still retaining important identifying information such as the date and mint mark. However, a normal centered 1996 D-quarter should not be described as an off-center error simply because its rim looks slightly uneven in a photograph. Genuine off-center errors have a recognizable relationship between the design, rim, and missing area. Then there are wrong planchet errors, which are among the most fascinating possibilities in modern coinage. A coin can theoretically be struck on a blank, intended for a different denomination or composition. Such an error can produce differences in weight, thickness, diameter, and edge appearance. This is why measuring a suspicious coin can be extremely useful. A normal 1996 D-quarter should have physical characteristics consistent with its standard production specifications. If a supposedly ordinary quarter has a substantially unexpected weight or unusual dimensions, that does not prove a wrong planchet error, but it creates a reason for deeper examination. Professional testing becomes especially important when composition is part of the claim. Clipped planchets provide another example of why physical evidence matters. A blank used to make a coin can sometimes be improperly punched from the metal strip, leaving a characteristic missing section. A genuine clip is more than simply a piece of a coin that has been cut away. The surrounding metal can show evidence of how the planchet behaved during the manufacturing process. That is why a smooth, curved section may be interesting, but a modern cut filed edge, or accidental break is something completely different. The key is always the same. Determine whether the feature was created at the mint or afterward. Die cracks and die breaks are also worth understanding because they can create dramatic-looking features. Coin dies repeatedly strike planchets under tremendous pressure, and dies can eventually develop cracks or other forms of deterioration. A die crack can transfer to coins as a raised line, while a larger break can produce a prominent raised area. These features can become collectible, particularly when they are dramatic or scarce. But a dark line on a coin is not automatically a die crack. The physical structure matters. A raised feature formed during striking is very different from a scratch cut into the surface after production. Changing the direction of the light can sometimes help reveal that difference. Now let's bring the conversation back to value. A normal circulated 1996 D Washington quarter should not be advertised as a coin worth millions of dollars. It is a common modern circulation issue, and its ordinary value is generally close to its face value unless its condition or characteristics justify a premium. Better preserved examples can be more collectible, particularly when they reach high certified grades. Genuine errors can bring additional premiums, but there is no universal 1996 D error value. A minor anomaly may have little impact, while a dramatic, authenticated, scarce mint error could be considerably more desirable. The exact identity of the error is what determines the discussion, not simply the fact that the word error appears in a video title. This is also where the word billionaire needs to stay out of responsible coin valuation. A standard quarter should never be presented as a guaranteed path to becoming rich overnight. Some individual coins in American numismatic history have achieved extraordinary prices because of exceptional rarity, condition, provenance, or historical importance. That does not mean every coin from the same decade or every coin with the same date and mint mark is worth anything remotely similar. One extraordinary auction result cannot be used as the value of an entire issue. When you see a claim that an ordinary 1996 D quarter is worth hundreds of thousands or millions, the correct response is not excitement alone. Ask what exact error or variety supposedly creates that value and whether it has been independently authenticated. If you are examining a 1996 D quarter yourself, preservation should be your first priority. Do not polish it because you think shine equals value. Do not scrub the surface. Do not use abrasive materials. Do not scratch suspected errors to see whether a mark is real. Do not attempt to remove the copper-colored edge or test the metal with destructive methods. A coin's original surface contains information about its history and condition. If something genuinely unusual is present, damaging the coin could make authentication more difficult and potentially reduce its collector appeal. Photograph it carefully instead. Good documentation is far more valuable than aggressive cleaning. A serious investigation should begin with clear photographs of both faces, followed by close-ups of the date, D mint mark, lettering, rim, and any suspected error. The edge should also be photographed because composition and construction can sometimes provide important clues. If possible, obtain an accurate weight measurement and record the diameter and thickness without altering the coin. Use ordinary lighting rather than dramatic filters and avoid AI enhancement when trying to prove a tiny variety because artificial sharpening can create details that are not actually present. A real collector wants the original evidence. The goal is not to make the coin look rare on camera. The goal is to determine what the coin actually is. There is something powerful about the 1996 D Washington quarter precisely because it looks so ordinary. This coin represents an era when American pocket change was produced on an enormous scale and moved through everyday life almost invisibly. Most examples will remain ordinary. Some will survive in better condition. A small number can contain legitimate manufacturing abnormalities. That is the fascinating balance of modern coin collecting. Rarity is possible, but it has to be demonstrated. When you understand that principle, every quarter becomes an opportunity to investigate rather than a promise of instant wealth. You stop asking, "Is this date worth millions?" and start asking, "What exactly happened to this particular coin?" That is the question experienced collectors know how to answer. So is your 1996 D Washington quarter valuable? Based on the basic description alone, it should be treated as a normal 1996 D-clad Washington quarter unless a specific variety, era, or exceptional grade is demonstrated. The D tells us it came from Denver. The Washington portrait confirms the series. The eagle belongs to the standard reverse design. The silver appearance does not establish silver content. And no specific mint era can responsibly be verified without detailed photographs or physical examination. If your coin has unusual doubling, a major die crack, a dramatic off-center strike, a wrong planchet appearance, a genuine clipped planchet, or another clearly mint-made characteristic, that is where the investigation becomes much more interesting. Until then, don't let an exaggerated online price convince you that an ordinary quarter is a fortune. And now the final collector alert. The next time a 1996 D quarter lands in your hand, don't spend it before you look twice. Check Washington's portrait, study Liberty, examine in God we trust. Inspect the 1996 date and the tiny D mint mark. Turn the coin over and study the eagle, lettering, rim, and central design. Then turn it sideways and inspect the edge. Look for genuine manufacturing evidence rather than scratches and damage. We are not searching for fantasy, we are searching for facts. Because the most exciting discovery in coin collecting isn't a ridiculous price written on a social media thumbnail. It is finding a legitimate characteristic that survives careful examination and tells you that your coin is genuinely different. This is ARYCOINS News, bringing you another fresh collector alert, another American coin with another story waiting to be uncovered. Keep your eyes open, protect your coins, verify before you value, and subscribe to ARY Coins News for more new coin alerts, rare varieties, mint era investigations, and collector discoveries.